Hey there, hockey fans. Welcome to 97 Octane Hockey, featuring our dynamic trio of hosts, Kirk Morris, Bob Schmidt, and Mike Dursa. The boys are cranking up the heat on Oilers talk, bringing you the hot takes from power plays to hat tricks, with special guests and insider insights. It's hockey talk that takes the game to a whole new level. Get ready for a wild ride through the highs and lows of Oilers hockey. Buckle up, Oilers faithful. This is 97 Octane Hockey.
Welcome to episode 38, and we got Aaron Rawlake back, and a lot's happened since the last time he was on. Jay Woodcroft was just recently dismissed when we had Aaron on the first time, and
was he turfed? I was trying to remember, Mike.
They just let him go,
right?
Yeah, and we were chatting about the way they let him go. But you know what? The last 16 games. 6-3 Oilers over Jersey, 4-3 over the Rangers, 5-0 over the Sharks, 3-2 over the Kings, 7-2 over the Ducks, 5-2 over the Flyers, 3-1 over the Sens, 2-1 over the Blackhawks, 3-2 in overtime over the Red Wings, 2-1 in overtime over the Canadiens, 4-2 over the Leafs, 4-2 over the Seattle Kraken, 3-1 over Calgary, 4-1 over Columbus, 3-0 shutout for Calvin Pickard, who everybody didn't think deserved the start, that it was Stewart's game, that he's got to run the table over the Blackhawks, and 4-1 over the Predators. So I got one little clip of something I need to say.
Showtime! Woo! 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 Silent and profiling. Woo! It's live and in color. Woo! 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 Slow down. Woo! 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 I'm styling and profiling. Woo! 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 Upside down. Woo! 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 Woo!
Woo. So did you know, when we had you on before, you thought a coaching change was probably needed. Did you ever think it would go like this?
No. No. I mean, come on, 16 in a row. It's mental. The way a streak is great. The thing that blows my mind is when you read all that out, it's the twos and the ones. That, I think, is something that a lot of people didn't think that this team might be capable of doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Goaltending aside, like the twos and the ones against, to me, that's as impressive as 16.
I read there today it's 14 games in a row with 2 or less goals allowed.
Yep.
Isn't it 18 games there? I think it was LA has the record for 18 games in a row with 2 or under there or something. I read there today on Twitter or something. But yeah, you see this team where they were with Woodcroft nearing his end. They're just zero confidence, zero structure, no balance. And then you see him now, and it's just like night and day difference. Like to have an 8-game winning streak and then to have a 16 gamer on top of it, like just unbelievable.
Watching.
What's Paul Coffey pumping into the defenseman?
Yeah, PEDs. Yeah, who knows, right?
Like
Or
the
something.
last guy on the planet I thought would be able to coach a defensive style of play in the back end.
Yeah.
And do you think it's as simple as like Ekholm saying he wants us to make plays? Do you think it's that simple? Like when they actually retrieve the puck to make a pass and get out? Do you think it's that simple, or is there more nuance to it than that?
I think that's probably the simplest way to explain them getting out of their own end when you've got those high-end forwards. Get them the puck and get out of the way.
Yeah.
I think you and I talked about this maybe in December, Mike, was probably, more astonishing, or right after it happened, was the change they made with some of these guys. Like, you don't see Nurse pinch anymore. That was a huge change for me. Like, quit pinching, back up. Your forwards are fast. They're going to catch up and help.
Yeah, I see some pinches on them, but they're not stupid ones. Like they're under
That's
control.
That's what I was going to say. You don't see Nurse making stupid pitches anymore. I think Coffey has worked on their timing and their decision making of when to pinch, because just us as a defensive unit, we're not making as shitty pinches as we were doing before. I think they have simplified the defense, and I think it does kind of touch base on, like, I'm just saying, make the plays like Aaron was referring to, that especially the way they get out of the zone now. They just simplified it, and they've been stellar at keeping the puck in at the opposing team's blue line. Like, it's little things like that have made a huge difference from our core six here.
No, and I think through this whole thing too, right? I mean, we'd be insane not to talk about the contribution from some of the guys in the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
We joked about it last time I talked with Mike. There's times that if you don't catch the number, the way he's flying up the ice, you think Fogel's McDavid.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
The month of January, he has really thought he's McDavid.
It's funny. There's a guy on Twitter, Tyler Hoopka, that calls him McDavid stunt double. and he had to wear 37, so you'd think he's a 97.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty to watch.
So, that 18-game win streak, like, and impressive, like, unbelievable. It's unfathomable what we're watching. Can you guys pick out one win that you think has been the best one of that 18?
Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Toronto or Calgary. It doesn't matter. Calgary's been terrible, but Toronto.
That was mine. That Calgary win there, in but yeah, Toronto's even sweeter. I can't wait for April there, and if we win over Vancouver, it's just going to be like, screw you guys.
Oof.
Same difference.
Canucks fans are all of a sudden 10 time in a row Stanley Cup winners now that they're having a good year. It's
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You gotta give the Nucks some credit. Like, they kind of kept pace.
Yeah.
But gotta give their goaltender some credit there too. He's finally healthy there as well.
Yeah, I gotta throw this one at you, Aaron. Do you think they are, Boston Bruins from last year 2.0? I mean, have a great regular season and then get into the real grind of the playoffs and falter? I guess time will tell. But what do you think? Because I personally think Rick Tocchet's behind the bench, but he isn't in their lineup, and I just don't think they're guts and glory enough for playoff hockey.
I will take the size and speed of the Oilers' top six all day versus Vancouver's.
Oh.
Fast, but size-wise is going to be the difference. At the end of the day, Pettersson is no bigger than Yamamoto. Going to get run over in 7-game series.
He sure doesn't play like it, that's for sure.
No, he's playing prototypical Rick Tocchet hockey, but he doesn't have the frame for it.
But that'd be I'll tell you what, that might be enough to get the CBC some ratings if they have to play in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, maybe.
But ESPN won't show it. 2 Canadian teams going against each other. So
unless it was Calgary, they picked up on that. They picked up on Oilers and Flames Battle of Alberta playoff being something must see TV.
And then the NHL doesn't cap and then they don't capitalize on it the following year and only have them play against each other 3 times.
Yeah, that was a blunder and a half.
No, like I said, it's been exciting to watch. I mean, you know, they finally got their defense figured out. Yeah, for sure. And you know, nothing starts. You know, it's got to start in your own end and work its way out. And you know, how much credit do you give the coaches in the whole thing? I mean, does that coaching change the number one thing to turn it around? I'll ask you guys that. Sure looks like it.
I would say yes. I mean, even with the fact that they just simplified everything. Like, I was a Woodcroft fan for sure, but he definitely didn't admit defeat for a defensive system that was not working for the Oilers, and he wouldn't change it. And it was like, no, we're going to see this through. We're going to see this through. But you know, Knobloch comes in and he simplified everything. He's got Coffey up there, brings him in, and he's taught them that their timing on the pinches and what have you. And then Mark Stewart's job on the penalty kill, like that's been his responsibility. And our penalty kill just turned like right around. Like we're a top 10 PK unit all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was going to be my point. Like just defensively more responsible. And I don't know there, Aaron. Like, did you like some games they were just looks like they were sleepwalking. Like I said, no confidence to boot is no good, but it just seemed like they were lost at times there on the ice. Like they didn't know what they were doing. Now, do you blame as far as defensively wise go? I mean, like offensively, yeah, sure, it wasn't there as well with David being hurt and probably Vander Kane and Draisaitl there as well. I would say they weren't the greatest start of the kick off the season, but just defensively wise, I hate to pick on the guy because he's had so much going through there in the off season and whatnot there. But do you think Dave Manson was just talking to a wall, like, and nothing was sinking into the guys, or what do you figure?
Well, I think there was definitely. I think it was falling on deaf ears, kind of the old listen to the teacher from Peanuts, you know. But I do think they were trying to play a system that didn't suit the skill set of the way the team was built. You heard a lot of chat in the summer and at the start of the year that they were essentially trying to play the same system that Vegas played and took it to them. Well, Vegas plays that way because of the Oilers' top 6 or even top 8 up front. Nobody else has what the Oilers have. So why play that way? Play a system that fits, and I think that's what Knobloch and Coffey have brought to it. And boy, we're at the point now they're talking Jack Adams for these guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just I don't know. I'm sorry to cut you off there, Durst, but yeah, just it's like night and day difference. And then you look at Mark Stewart saying, you know, here you go with the PK, and complete flip of the script. Like they were 30th there right at the end of November there for penalty kill in the league, and now they're number 1 here in the last month, like with 90%. Like just that's unheard of. I think that's way more impressive than the winning streak, to tell you the truth. Like he just to flip everything around on its head.
Well, and you know, there's a comment up there. Yeah, Bouchard struggled big time. I mean, I think we'll probably all admit we're going to see the same. You know, we're going to say the same thing. I mean, he's not there for his defensive skills. When we get defense from him, that's great, but he's really picked up that side of his game, and I think as such, he's a little more free flowing. I mean, that cannon on the point helps, but I mean, what's he got? 43 points in 46 games.
Yeah,
I mean, that's unbelievable,
Mm-hmm.
and hasn't been a big pile of power play points like they were last year. That's been the crazy
You balance
thing.
that out with pairing him up with a defensive stalwart like Ekholm. So you got a pretty good, decent pairing there that complements each other and balance each other out both at an elite level.
Like you're pretty free to run with that giant Viking on the other side of you.
Ekholm running a plus 43 on the year. I mean, that guy's a machine.
Yeah. My favorite part of the streak, now that you mentioned Ekholm, was him in the penalty box.
Scolding his child.
Yep,
And
pretty
it's-
much.
and my wife doesn't watch a lot of hockey. We were watching that game, and she actually said, she goes, that guy should just stay in the box. Not talking about Echo, I'm talking about the other guy.
Start chirping the ref. Take another 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
The attendant opens the door and he shuts it back again. No, I'm good.
Yeah.
good.
No, I'm not getting out.
No, it's and I guess as good as it's gone, do they make another change coming up?
That was one of my questions later on for you.
Yeah, I figured it was.
Well, we're
I
gonna
think-
lose. Like 18 is ridiculous. The fear I have on when you do lose that next game, whenever that is, there's a tendency of going on I'm stringing a couple losses together because you got to try and get that momentum back. You got to try the adrenaline back. Like you're kind of crash after you've been on this high for 18 plus games. So like I do see the possibility of maybe go on a 3 or 4 game losing streak right after this before we find our footing again and kick ass again. So I think it's the losses where you really start seeing areas of need. Like right now, we have had our struggles, especially in the first 2 periods in a couple of these games where we come out slow and the other team kind of dictates the game. And the third period, we're like, screw this, we're just going to take over and kick your ass. And that's been working, but that's not always going to be the case. So that's going to be magnified when we lose, and then those areas will be looked at in regards to addressing it before the March trade deadline.
Name's got a new.
You got that new guy going here now. Let's see what he does.
Yeah. What did you think about Perry's debut there? I thought he didn't look rusty to me at all. Every pass that the guy was, delivering was right on the tape and catching guys in stride. And that play to Holloway, I mean, I think he surprised Holloway of how nifty of a pass he can make.
Well, he's I look at Corey Perry with his body of work over his career. He's a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
And he should have a plaque, somewhere right beside Ken Linsman.
Part of the Zoo Hall of Fame in the rat division.
When he caused the scrum his very first shift, I mean, you knew it was going to happen. You almost knew somebody's going to get speared or poked or something.
It was hilarious. Earlier in the day before we played that game, I watched a little bit of this Missing Curfew podcast. It's with Scotty Upshaw and another former NHLer. I don't have the name.
Steve Ott or...
Yeah, I don't have the name on the top of my head, but the one guy was saying, well, now that he's kind of cleaned up his life and whatever, we wonder if he's going to be the same player. And then very first shift, he's right in the middle of the pile, right in front of the goalie there, and getting into it. And I'm like, yeah, he's not changing the way he plays hockey.
And despite all the rumors and everything else would have happened, the chirps aren't going to affect him.
No.
I'm sure he's got a
alligator skin.
Yeah, I mean, guys are probably scared to talk to him.
And not only that, but it's actually more effective because when he just has that blank look on his face, no matter what's going on, his expression never changes. And no matter what you're chirping or what you're doing to him, his expression doesn't change. He never seems to be like blowing steam off. Like he's never yelling and never anything like that. And no veins bursting in his forehead. Like that's got to be even more aggravating when you're trying to get him off his game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's been around it forever. I'm sure he's heard it all. He probably said it all way worse. Even keel. And I think that's going to help, especially because the end of the day, Oilers still a pretty young team. I mean, you add in Ekholm, you get a lot older, but, to help them down the stretch, I mean, it's going to be, I think, really good having him along. Just the way he digs and the sandpaper. I mean, you see that for years. They're talking about the Oilers need sandpaper. Well, they got the sandpaperiest guy out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'd love to have seen if they would have got him in the summer.
Well, they know they got a healthy player now too, so that I don't mind that at all.
What do you think for production? What do you think for production from him? Like we got about 37 games left. How many goals does he get?
I'd be happy with 10. Just 10 and 10. 10 assists, 10 goals. I'd like. The thing about Perry is you can insert him anywhere in the lineup and he's going to help. Like you could put him in. Well, I don't know about the power play. I don't think that needs any help. But as far as like up and down the lineup, like he's pretty versatile. Like except for the boots, of course, they're fading pretty quick. You know, or no foot foot speed of the pass. But I think that he's very versatile. What do you guys think? Like overall?
Watching that first game with him, the very first shift, he kind of got into the shit right away. But I saw him almost playing almost like an Ovechkin style, where he was going to quiet ice, looking to be wide open to shoot a shot. I like that. I thought he fit in really well with McLeod and Holloway. And yeah, he's the late trailer, but he's going to open ice, so he's going to get his chances. And as far as my prediction, I'm going to say he's going to get 7 to 12 goals somewhere in there in the remaining games here.
So does Perry make a difference? The Oilers clipped along at an absolutely insane power play rate last year.
Mm-hmm.
That power play slipped a little bit this year, and the NHL is a smart league. They're going to start to figure it out a little bit, and maybe Draisaitl's not going to hit as many shots from right on the end line as he has been. At some point, do you foresee Perry getting some power play time with those two big guys just raising pure hell in front of the net? Kind of like Hyman does, and I think that's a good insurance piece is Hyman has been unconscious all year. He struggles a little bit, or God forbid gets hurt. You've got an insertion back in front of the net causing hell.
I think Perry will see some time there just because of wear and tear. They won't want Hyman to take all that abuse. Ryan Smith's career probably ended about 5 years short from all the cross checks and fucking hacks he took from Darian Hatcher over the years. So I don't imagine they'll want Zach Hyman to go through that kind of abuse. And as the season kind of gets closer to the end of it, I think that kind of stuff will start to pick up too. So yeah, I think you will see Perry getting some looks and Kane some looks with Hyman kind of in that spot. I think they'll all kind of rotate in there and get a little bit.
I'd love to see Perry, Kane, and McLeod just dump the puck in and run somebody through the end boards, and that will be the best scrum we've seen all year.
I suggested there, I think a couple shows back, Payne or Carey F. Jesus, I'm slipping here.
You got Katy Perry on your mind because that's what you want to call the line.
Dyslexia, whatever, verbal dyslexia. Perry, Kane, and Holloway. Like Holloway, there, he's no short fry there as well. Like he can hold his own. But yeah, and I dubbed it the Hollywood line, I think, or something, or that was the primetime line. That's what it was. Yeah, that combo could do damage. But I like the lineup there against that line against versus Nashville. Like I thought it was awesome. Like and Holloway's got quick feet there too. Like great addition. And then Perry, bat and cleanup. I loved it.
How long do we want this streak to go? It's like Shoresy, we'll never lose again.
Yeah, we'll never lose again. We'll finish the season 65-15-1.
There you go.
I have a concern, and my concern is when they get to, what's the record, 20, 21?
17. Yeah, 17 ties the record. So their next game, if they win that, they tie the record, and then if they win, I think it's against the Kings after that. Then
thank God.
They're
okay. So if they can get through that, then they lose whatever.
It's Vegas after the All-Star break, and then LA, I believe.
Anaheim. It's Vegas, Anaheim, then LA.
Oh,
what tweaked me on that was a comment in the chat there about we need all these guys healthy going in the playoffs. Like,
yeah,
I just hope they don't get too wrapped up in a streak to put guys at risk.
Yeah, I mean, you break the record and then you go from there. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you get this far if in your mind the whole time is I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this, and you're looking ahead at 2 games, down the road on the calendar. I think if you start approaching hockey that way in professional sports, you get beat. I think they've kind of kept their eye on things as the next game. I don't think they've looked 2, 3, 4 games down the line and thought that way. I really don't. I mean, for us as fans, we've done that, and Dash and some other people predicted running the table in January, and that came to fruition. But I don't think players really get into that so much. I think if you start doing that, that's when you lose.
Well, that's a credit to the coaching staff to keep everything centered.
Very, very small picture, yeah.
And likely the leadership in the room.
That's what I was going to touch on. I think the leadership in the room is so. I think these guys, they've had enough. They know they're in this window, and like these guys are so hungry to win. Like to see Connor McDavid be the front net traffic on Ryan McLeod's game winner against Toronto. Like that's that's a guy, and he led our forwards in shot blocks last game against Nashville. So he's doing everything he wants to do to win. He's got winning on his mind, and he's hungry for it.
I have a question that's kind of related to this, and maybe it was sort of Aaron's way of asking it, but he didn't. Are any of you guys worried that they've peaked too early? Because I'm not.
No.
I think they're running on disgust right now, and I think that can take them a long way. I think Michael Jordan made a career out of running on disgust, and Tom Brady and a lot of other great athletes ran on disgust and made hell of careers. Basically,
I think we're balancing out. I think we're balancing out because we started off so shitty, and now we're on a heater, and I think it's finally it's balancing out. I think we are now at the part of the season where we expect it to be. Like when it comes to standings, at least closer to it, and but we had to do it in a very difficult way to get there. But now we're there, so now let's just play weather hockey.
I just said to somebody there the other day at work, I was like, enjoy it. Like these kind of heaters don't come around very often. When they do, I mean, to top it all off, like we've got a couple of the best players in the world playing for our team. And it's like I said to him there, like alongside with Dry and McDavid, 16 game heaters don't come along, or at the time I think it was like 14 game heaters don't come around very often. When they do, you gotta love the shit out of it. Like just everybody's feeling it, like everybody in the city, like the fans, the team, the coaching staff, the whole 9 yards. You gotta be feeling pretty damn good.
I mean, on that front, Kirk, I mean, it's mind blowing to think that the dynasty years of the 80s didn't get this far.
I think what would they get, like 8 or 9 wins in a row, and then that was it.
Those guys probably partied a little more. They didn't have the internet.
Yeah, touche. Yeah.
I got into this discussion on Twitter or whatever with a Avalanche fan. Because he kept downplaying the streak because of the schedule, right? We're playing quite a few shitty teams. There's some good teams mixed in there, obviously, but like this is called taking advantage of the part of your schedule that you can, right? And then it'd be worse to drop any of these games, let alone the fact that we're winning them. But even if you play just the Blackhawks 15 times, 16 times, that's a tall order to try and beat them all 16 times.
Mm-hmm. You have to win the games that are in front of you, and other teams get soft schedules too, but not everyone takes advantage of them and runs the fucking table. I mean, you can't take anything away from that. It's a hell of a run.
Pretty to watch.
Yeah.
Have you heard? I saw an article, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, but that a lot of people contributed. One of the things in the room was that they moved guys around in the room when the new staff came.
Yeah, the D all started sitting together, and that was Coffee directly.
Like to me, that's an unreal move, especially when you got guys like you got Ekholm there.
Yeah, pros. You're telling them, okay, you guys go join and sit together, but it makes sense. But it's a total minor hockey move, like.
It's true. Yeah, and you don't argue with like a 5-time cup champion. Like
no, it just shows you the bling and okay. Yeah.
Listen. Yeah.
That's total boss move, him wearing those on the bench too.
Yeah.
On that note, I guess we'll scoot to our 3-minute quick little break, and then we'll come back and we'll quiz Aaron about the AJHL wonders and
be fun.
thoughts on changes to the All-Star break and all of this fun stuff. Anyways, as soon as I cue it up here, we'll go to our break. Okay, we'll be back in 3 minutes. Thanks for being here for the first half of our show, 97 Octane Hockey. It's your passion that fuels our game. We will be back in 3 minutes to refuel after the fastest commercial on ice.
I'm Connor McDavid.
How would you describe your game?
I think just speed. I think that's the main thing. My game is all about speed. Speed with the puck. I think a lot of guys have a tendency to, when they get the puck, slow down and want to look for a play and all that. But I think if you could do all that, all with skating, it makes it pretty dangerous.
Edmonton Oilers would like to select with their first pick from the Erie Otters, Connor McDavid.
Under pressure, no more time. Can we make a move? Overthinking, you and I. What do we have to lose? 'Cause I'm wasting all my time thinking of the things we could do. If you gave me one more sign, I could find a way to break through, a way to break through.
That man's a tough act to follow, but we're back. So last week, little news with the AJHL and BCHL. I kind of just dropped. I've got like a little clip here. So the AJHL was informed through an announcement from the BCHL of a decision by 5-member teams to join the British Columbia Hockey League for the 2024-25 season. No official notice has been provided to the AJHL from the respective teams. As a league, we are assessing next steps and schedule implications. The AJHL will continue to provide unprecedented development opportunities for our athletes within our valuable communities. The following games have been canceled, and then they list them. And then there's kind of been a little bit of back and forth, and it's kind of fuzzy, but I guess the gist of it is there's some teams, upper echelon teams in the AJHL that want to join the BCHL. And we'll let Aaron explain sort of the rationale behind it and kind of his thoughts first before we kind of go back and forth with it for a bit.
It's money.
There you go. The reason. Money. And
why else? That's my personal opinion. Keep myself out of shit. But that said, if you own a business privately, you are free to do with that business what you please. If those owners of those teams choose to leave sanctioned hockey with Hockey Canada to go where they think the grass is greener, who is hockey, the church of hockey, to stop them from doing it? I mean, do I like it from a development standpoint for Alberta kids? Nope, I don't. That's 5 less teams that truly, I believe, don't provide much of an opportunity for Alberta kids. So it's an ongoing saga. It's interesting because the announcement was leaked. BC corroborated it. Those 5 teams still haven't wholly publicly admitted that they're going to leave. The only exception was, I believe it was the president of the Brooks Bandits that said the announcement was going to happen on May the 1st.
Whoops.
That's where, Mike, you and I got into
Yeah,
the wrestling conversation.
we'll show this little part here just for fun. You kind of get it. It's like the Monday Night Wars back with WCW and then at that time WWF.
Yeah, so yeah, you and I got into a conversation. I'll catch Kirk and Bob up really quick. We got talking about, the games are being canceled between leaving teams and staying teams. The leaving teams can still play each other. The staying teams will still play each other, and away we go. There's been no formal announcement about kicking them out of the playoffs, that thing, but that's a foregone conclusion. I said to Mike, well, you'll understand this. We were both wrestling guys when we were young, is you can't have the champ leave to the other company with your belt. And then when the president of the Bandits says, we're going to announce this May 1st. So you're going to announce it 10 days before the National Junior A Championship, of which you are the defending national champion and likely to be Alberta's champion again. He was going to take the belt. Which to me is really ignorant. But they see an opportunity, go for it. It's a tough spot. I don't know if you guys are aware, I'm the vice chair of the Alberta Elite Hockey League, so I look after AAA for the whole province of Alberta, and it's caused pandemonium right down through our system, and just shows like Canadian hockey's built. If there's change at the top, it trickles all the way down. So we're kind of sitting back going, well, what's going to happen? And we'll deal with it and move forward and continue to provide an opportunity at the AAA level. 50 teams across the province. That's not going to change for us. It's fascinating. There's external factors. You hear about non-sanctioned hockey, the HSL, the JPHL, these things. It's an opportunity for other kids. That's how we look at it. Is they're doing some things the same as us, some different. Go for it.
You had a theory too about what you thought might be a future endeavor with the BCHL joining the USHL.
Well, I think that's their end game, and to be part of the USHL, which they think is on par with the Canadian Hockey League, so with the dub. And will that all change? There's a lot of talk in the background that now with NCAA, with the NIL deals, the name, image, likeness, where you hear about these football players getting paid millions of dollars. Well, it's not just football players; just kids across the board getting sponsorship deals.
Yep.
Well, to me, that's professional.
Mm-hmm.
How can you say that these WHL kids are no longer eligible because they get a weekly or monthly stipend from the team?
Yeah, you're $2,500 a month or whatever it is to.
Yeah, there's work in the background, and if anyone truly believes that there are a lot of junior A players making much more money than any kid in the WHL, they are sadly mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
SAS Senior Hockey deals with it. They call it gas and sticks. I go to the game, I play in the game, I'm a senior hockey superstar, they pay for my gas and my sticks. Well, why do you got 9 bundles of sticks in the back of your truck? Those types of things happen. But, it is what it is. It's competitive. At the end of the day, it's a business. Junior hockey's a business at any level. Any level.
There's quite some games that go on in senior hockey. I know that. Horse Lake Thunder.
Well, that's what killed the Allen Cup.
Well, yeah, when they had Theo and Gino, they ended up having to sell their team bus to make ends meet after that season.
That was here where I live in Lloydminster that year.
They Horse Lake paid me $100 just to come to their practice once because their goalie had a deep shin bruise. So if they were that willing just to give me $100 for a practice, I can't imagine what they were. And I got paid to play senior hockey. My last 3 years of senior hockey, I got paid. And just like you were saying, Aaron, it was for gas, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't use weight as much gas as they paid me for.
Yeah, 9 slip tanks in the back of your truck apparently.
It was quite the bar tab.
I had three other teams. I had 3 other teams in the NPHL who were also offering to pay my gas to come play for them. So
did the gas get siphoned out if you let a few in? No, you hear about that stuff for years, but it's going to be curious to see how this all shakes down. I mean, it's a tough spot. I mean, I know you guys are on Twitter, X, or whatever you want to call it now, and the speculation and the conversation, and they're doing wrong by these 100 kids on these 5 teams. Well, I mean, those kids know what they signed up for. They and if they didn't, they need to do their research. And I think, that would be the number one thing I would say to any kid coming out of 17 or 18, you could go play junior hockey, is you better damn well do your research on those teams that are interested. What's the end game? Because when you sign, and I think a lot of them forget this, when you sign with that junior team, you are theirs until they decide you're gone. You don't get to walk away. And that's just the reality of it.
Do you think it's going to be interesting to see what happens here after their season is done? But do you think there's another league that rises out of the ashes, or not a chance?
No, I can't see.
League.
No. I can't see another junior league. The AJ will still be 11 strong. Maybe they look to expand to a 12th somewhere just to balance things out.
Even number, yeah.
But you never know. I mean, to me, there's a few open spots around the province. Maybe it's a place like St. Albert. Who knows? And those 5 teams, we'll call them the rogue teams for now. I mean, they're going to be joined by a 6th. Don't forget that there's one moving into the Silent Ice facility in Nisku.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to have their thing. I think they'll be successful. I truly do. I don't think they're going to struggle. It's just a question of, I think people are going to have to get over the initial shock that if they're going to compete in the BCHL, they're not going to be full of Albertans. They're going to have these guys, like you look at a BCHL roster and everybody's got a Division I logo beside their name. With the exception of Brooks, Alberta runs maybe half the team. So is Brooks going to compete right away? Yeah. But you're already seeing it. They're announcing signings of these Americans, and the Europeans will follow next to these teams. And then what happens to the 3rd and 4th line Alberta kids that are on those 5 AJ, I guess the 4 AJHL teams? Brooks has no Albertans, very few, couple. But what happens to the rest of them? And with the costs going up, that's a heck of a lot more travel. I hope those communities are ready for it to support it, because privately owned or not, the Okotoks Oilers still have how many sponsors in their community?
Lots. Yeah.
Spruce Grove may be a different animal thanks to the Silent Ice group. They can likely afford to do what they want. You're going to see them sign probably everybody and just get rid of everybody on their current roster because they're not very good. But then the other curious part to it is we saw it during the year this year, because they're unsanctioned hockey. So, for example, if I'm playing where I live here for the Lloydminster Bobcats, I could just disappear. I could just leave in December and go start skating and play with an unsanctioned team in the BCHL. That's always a scary proposition as well. Like, they can steal best players, and sanctioned hockey can't. Sanctioned Hockey Canada has a rule in place that if you're part of an unsanctioned program after September 30th, you cannot return to the program. So I'm really curious to see if that rule is going to change to kind of level the playing field to say, well, if you're going to come and steal our kids, it's open season, we're going to try and get them back.
I think they're going about it a different way, trying to cannibalize any opportunity these guys that are playing unsanctioned hockey to like go anywhere. I heard on the weekend Sean Bell was coaching like a young kids, and
over now.
Yeah, well, they were supposed to
total horse shit.
Well, he said they were supposed to go to Detroit, and it got kiboshed because they're weren't
supposed
sanctioned.
to play in the I think they call it Detroit top 20. Yeah, all well and good. If you do a simple Google search like I did, you will see that tournament is sanctioned by Michigan Hockey. Michigan Hockey is under the umbrella of Hockey USA.
Mm-hmm.
Take the Hockey Canada agreement, the Hockey USA agreement. We will play each other if the teams are sanctioned under our umbrella.
Yeah.
Bell's on there talking about, the London Knights are going because they're coached by Danny Severette. Yep. Because they are a sanctioned Hockey Canada program.
Right.
So did somebody rat them out? 100%.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. And then the pin got pulled.
But did Mr. Bell and his group do all of their homework to make sure that they could go?
Yeah,
sure
probably.
Doesn't sound like it.
No.
So he can whine. They can whine all they want. Somebody dropped the ball.
Yeah, and something's a little fishy when you're only finding that out last minute.
Yeah, I think that I like how they propose it. Like the like the Board of Hockey Canada drove down to Michigan to rat them out.
No, emails go anywhere in the world pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, and I feel you feel bad for those kids, and there's 3 kids from Lloydminster here that play in the JPHL that were supposed to go to that. They're family friends of ours. You feel bad for the kid. He's looking forward to the experience. I mean, it's tough, but again, do your research on what you sign up for.
Were there any rumblings leading up to this? Like, obviously, I don't have my boots to the ground when it comes to the AJHL anymore. But was there any kind of rumblings that this was a possibility, that there was these kinds of gears were turning in the background at all?
Yeah, I think there's been quite a bit of it. The connection, Spruce Grove, Brooks have kind of, there was talk about it last year and they had said no. They were approached. That was made public that these teams were approached to join a year ago and they declined and stuck with it. I think the one that surprised most people in the hockey world was Okotoks. Okotoks has been a very committed partner right from their minor hockey system through their junior A program with Hockey Canada, and they're slated to host the national championship next year. So that'll be out the door. But their Okotoks is a very well-run organization. They would have done their homework for what they're getting into and really dug into it. But it's been floating in for well over probably 20 months, Bob. Like it's been talked about. I think they knew. The fact that it hit as such a surprise, to me, that's a piss poor job by the AJHL and their leadership. Like, I mean, when everybody in the hockey world knew it was coming at some point, the fact that they really didn't seem like they were ahead of it in any way, shape, or form is that's really disappointing.
I think I'm good on this subject now. If you guys want to drill down on it more, but I don't think there's really anything left there. I think Aaron did a good job of covering it.
I'm good on it. It pisses me off.
So this weekend comes up the NHL All-Star Game, and Zach Hyman should be there. I want to say that first, but I think his body probably can use some time on a beach somewhere. Hopefully he gets that. If there was a change to the All-Star break that you guys would make, what would it be? And I'll start by burning the jerseys that they decided to come out with this year and retooling that. But go ahead, Aaron, then Kirk, then Bob. What do you guys got?
Get rid of it.
Yep.
Get rid of it. I get it. It's a marketing thing and whatever, but it's a non-factor in the U.S. An absolute non-factor. Give the guys 6 days off. Let them recharge and come roaring back. But Does it make money? Yeah, it makes big money when it's in there. And I think it's the only reason they probably still push it the way they do is Canadian TV contract.
It's something for the kids. That's basically what it is. And money aside, I don't know. I keep hearing it's for the kids, but as an adult, it's unwatchable. Like it's literally going to the dentist pretty much if you manage to get through that entire game. And it's cringeworthy at times, like what they'll do. Like it's just no. I totally agree with Aaron. Like get rid of it. Just especially for your superstars, you know, if they're nicked up or whatever. But mind you, they have the choice of playing or not playing, right? But yeah, just yeah, it's absolutely. I don't know what you could do to make it better. Like just make it more like as Aaron said there too. Like in America, like nobody watches it, and I don't know how many Canadians watch it, but I just take a look at it on the highlights if it's on the television. That's basically about it. Like it's cringeworthy at times. Like I said.
That one in Florida, I mean, with their skills there with the surfboards and all that. I mean, part of it was kind of neat, but it just got silly. I mean, for me, if I think back to like my favorite All-Star moment, it's Owen Nolan pointing and going top titty on Hasek. I mean, that's what do you got, Bobby?
They're in a tough spot because they've got it. You know, they want to be a Big Four sport. Mike, I know you're a giant basketball guy. I mean, the NBA All-Star game, for half the game, it's a complete farce. But at least the dunks are cool. But it turns into a bit of a real game near the end.
Not even. It's just
the Major League All-Star game. I call it a real game. It can be pretty good, but you can't have an All-Star game in contact sports.
The MLB, you know, when the winner gets to host the World Series, that puts some cards on the table, and that made that game serious and matter to those guys. I enjoyed that, but can you imagine doing that in an NHL All-Star game and guys running people through the boards and getting hurt and stuff in the All-Star game?
No.
Just you can't.
There's no compensation, like, and
you're right, Aaron. I mean, like, look at the Pro Bowl. It's the same thing. It's like two-hand touch football, and it just yeah.
It doesn't work for contact sports, so I appreciate how they try to change things. Like they made it like a 3-on-3 tournament, and that was kind of fun the first 2 years. And then they did the draft format and that sort of stuff. They're always changing things that make me curious. Well, let's see how this works. I am one of those fans that's kind of like, oh shit, it's glorified beer league hockey again. Here we go. Of course, being an ex goalie guy, I'm like, these poor buggers, they're going to pull a groin trying to stop this 3-on-none, what have you. And it's not fun, I don't think, for the goalies as much. But then I'm also that idiot that tunes in every year. Like, I want to see something. Let's see how these guys work together. These stars are all in one building, kind of thing. Like, and see how they interact with each other. It piques my curiosity.
That, you know, what used to pique my curiosity was Ali Afraidi's hair and him in the hardest shot. What was going to happen with the skullet?
Unbelievable.
That was a unit. So coming back from this break, are they going to get right back after it and beat Vegas? Do they actually do this? Do they break the record?
Well, I think Vegas is going to be our first big test. Well, obviously our first game back, and then we play a team like Vegas. Because after that, again, it's like Anaheim. LA is slumping pretty bad. I mean, there's going to be a coaching change there coming soon, I imagine. You know, we got Detroit there coming up too, and they're kind of middle of the pack. So Vegas is going to be a good measuring stick to see how we're coming out of this rest.
Well, what kind of heater the boys go on in Mexico?
I mean, they were on the streak started before Christmas, right? And then they had the Christmas break and kept running.
Yeah,
yeah. I was just going to ask Aaron, like, what do you think? I seen somebody comment in the chat there about our goaltender coach.
Yeah, that was a ways
what's
back.
Your take on it? What's your take? Yeah, what's your take on our goaltending as a whole?
Well, the last time Mike and I chatted, I think we were both
running Skinner out of town.
We were sending a bus to get him and take him, but it would have went through his legs. Now he's been solid, and I guess I'll be the Christ. I'm going to sound like freaking Mark Spector here. Is he a product of the system they're playing now?
Yeah.
But that said, he's been steady. Now I'll put this to you because I actually saw this on X on my way down. A guy said if you could trade Broberg for Marc-Andre Fleury and Minnesota keeps 50% of his salary, would you do it?
Yep.
Yeah, I probably do because he's kind of like he brings in that veteran presence who's been there, and he can still play. I think he'd be brought in more as like a 1B kind of situation. I don't think he takes over the reins. Like Skinner is just too hot right now to even think about sitting him for too extended period of time. Pickard's been more than serviceable when he's been in, but he is a career backup with not a lot of playoff experience or even playoff moment like experience. I think that's still a gamble, us having to rely on him if Skinner happens to go down, right? Then all of a sudden all the balls are up in the air again. Is Pickard our guy? That's a tough one to try and convince yourself that he is. So to get some support for Skinner, like a veteran goalie who's kind of been there, yeah, I'd be all up in arms for that for sure.
I agree with you 100%. I wouldn't make him your bona fide starter, but you wouldn't feel bad if you had to go to him. You've got faith. This guy's won a Stanley Cup before. He's been through the ringer, and he can still play. He's still a pretty athletic goalie. So yeah, but I think he's hurt right now. I think he's tweaked something, and he's out.
Right now.
Yeah. But still, give him a little bit of time and circle back to that in March. I think on getting a goalie, I think waiting is not a bad idea because then that you're going to get somebody that's healthy. So,
well, that's what happened now with Skinner and Pickard's play. It has quieted the goalie talk, which is great. So we are no longer in this rush, emergency, panic mode of we need goaltending. We're actually getting goaltending. In fact, Skinner has probably been the best goalie in the league in the last month. So that's quieted that talk. Now, it's still in the back burner, like we're saying, when it comes to playoffs, because Pickard probably isn't our go-to guy. So there's still an area that needs to be looked at least.
It's not dire straits.
No, by no means. I think they've stabilized it. The way they play defensively has helped and made his life much easier, but he's making big saves.
Yeah.
There's been games, we talked about it earlier, where they're asleep at the wheel for 2 periods.
Yeah, and he's buying them time. He's buying them time.
Yep. Yeah, and I mean, geez, we all grew up when they used to have a guy in the 80s that did that.
Yeah.
Didn't always have the greatest stats, but push came to shove.
Grant sometimes was the other way. He didn't always have the greatest starts, but he had great finishes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's fascinating. And then what do they? I just hope they can do something. With that number that Campbell has, if they can package him off and
yeah,
I mean, I don't know where you guys stand on one of the guys that I like. I think he's been good, but probably one of the most maligned Oilers lately has been Ceci. I think he's half tough. I hope they keep him. I think he's got value, but what do you get for him? It seems like every second day, even 16 games in a row, they want to run him out of town.
He had one rough shift on Saturday night, and it was a long one. It was about a minute and a half. We didn't get scored on, but it was a rough shift for him. And the pitchforks and the crucifixes were out immediately after the game. And I don't know. I thought he's been okay for most of the season. Like he's had a little bit
okay.
Yeah,
he's been more okay. He has been what we need him to be. I'm a CC fan. I don't understand the shit he gets. Is it because he hasn't scored yet? Is that why there's extra focus on him? Because that's not his job. I don't see him as the Connor Brown of our defense. Like it's not his job to produce that. He's giving balance and he's playing well defensively. No, I think in my mind, he's probably more of a third pairing, like on a stronger team or like on a strong team. But he has played like he belongs where he is right now.
This is a strong team, Bob. Come on.
Well, if you do get rid of CZ, who are you going to bring in? Because he's well loved in that dressing room. He's well loved by the guys.
And I think that's it. If he goes out, then the guy that slots in, they bring Broberg and slot him in. And I don't know if they're ready to take that youth heading into the playoffs where you know what you're going to get with CC in 7 games. And I think a guy like Ken Holland's going to be smart enough to realize this is the kind of guy we're going to need for 7 games to beat the shit out of Pettersson for 7 games when we see them.
It's hilarious. Today you start seeing stuff like, okay, we're going to ship out Kulak and bring Broberg in so we can get a 7th defenseman. You're just turning your wheels here. Keep Kulak. He's a playoff stud. No,
but we also don't need a Broberg type D-man right now.
No.
Broberg is more offensive minded. We're getting that already from, especially from Bush, right? And actually Ekholm's offense is picked up. Nurse is providing his decent amount, but we don't need that. We right now with our focus on defense, which let's face it, isn't really one of Broberg's strongest points at the moment on the professional side. That's kind of where our focus. So we don't need Broberg in the lineup right now.
Well, we started tonight just talking about it. We need guys that just get the puck out of our end.
Yeah,
and that's what this group is doing. Guys are chipping in on the front on the offensive end a little bit, but we got guys that are getting the puck out of our end.
Yep.
They're not going to score many goals standing in front of their goalie.
Well, I want to thank everybody that tuned in tonight and Mr. Relic for hopping on board again. It was a pleasure, Aaron. You're pretty nuanced in this, and I enjoy having you on and seeing your mug and talking shit with you like back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh man, and I can imagine if we get to the shack one time that it could get medieval, but
we'll have to connect in the city one of these days.
Yes. What's on deck for the Lakeland College Rustlers and the rest of the season for you there, my man?
We're hanging in there. We split with Nate on the weekend. We're going to kick the shit out of your boys from Grand Prairie this weekend. They're coming here. Then we finish up with Satan. So we're Satan Old. So we're on the home stretch. We're in the playoffs. It's just a question of where we're going to fall depending on how we finish here in these last 4 matches. But hopefully we run the table. Finish 2nd or 3rd in the North, and then our league, as men's volleyball in Alberta is crazy. It's literally an anybody beat anybody. There's not a free weekend in our league. Every weekend's a complete bloodbath. So the guys will be up to go, and you get to conference championships, the top 8 teams, and roll the dice. I mean, last year we took the number 1 team in the country to 16-14 in the 5th, and had no right doing it, but anything can happen. So we're gonna see if we get the boys there, and who knows? I mean, we're in a tough spot. If you're familiar, our women's program is the defending national champions. They absolutely beat the living shit out of every team that they play. They are a juggernaut. So we tend to get overshadowed as the men's team a little bit, but that's okay. People kind of ignore us, and then we sneak in and sneak out, and
stealth missions.
Yeah, we got more wins than losses, so that we're sitting 9-6 right now. But we just finished our murders row where we played 3 of the top 10. 3 teams all in the top 10 or in the top 12 in the country in the last 2.5 weeks. So we survived that. So unfortunately, it was only at 1-4, but it was kind of what we expected, and now we'll just build on it.
Was there ACAC All-Star games back in the day?
There was one, Mike. It was hosted at Nate. I represented us from Lakeland. They had the day of the game, we had a pregame serve and pass. I remember actually was a 5th year, my first year that I played at the U of A before I went to college. He was the coach of the team. He was more than disgusted at my lack of participation at serve and pass, as I was I threw up in the garbage can at the scorer's table. Met up with the boys, and Team North got at her the night before the game. He was thoroughly disgusted, but we beat the shit out of the South. 10 hungover guys took it to them boys from the South. So, there was one game. It was a bit of a train wreck.
You got to get it over with quick so you can go recover, huh?
Well, and unlike these NHL games, they made the mistake of kind of hosting men's and women's at the same time. So when you know, Mike, because you were on the bench for all those years. Generally, most female volleyball players, when you're 20 years old, aren't terrible to look at. And when they put us all in the same hotel, like, what the hell did you think was going to happen? And when that hotel is connected to old Ezzy's, the old Kingsway there, what did you think was going to happen? Yeah. So
the same thing that happened every day on campus.
Why there shouldn't be all-star games.
Oh my goodness. On that note, thanks everybody for watching. Keep your sticks on the ice, keep reaching for the stars, and go Oilers go. We'll be back here next Monday, same time, same place, as Kirk likes to say, same bat channel. We'll see you then.